tonight, revealing the scale of the ULEZ camera backlash. On one road alone, 20 cameras have been vandalised or stolen completely. TfL thinks it can solve the problem by covering them in metal armour.
I have been warning, amongst others, for months and months and months of there being lots of very upset, very scared and increasingly angry people out and about, and I think that's manifesting itself on the streets.
Also ahead, an update on the double homophobic stabbing. Police release this new image of a man wanted in connection with the attack. Plus,
The sky's the path, beyond a flag!
roaring their way to the final, the Lionesses make history as an Arsenal player helps them seal the deal. And
hiya! I will be with you. Just give me a few more minutes and I'll tell you all about the park and the weather, etc., etc.
good evening. The few that remain have been vandalised, but the majority was stolen completely. On one stretch of road in Bromley, we counted 20 spots where ULEZ cameras should sit. All had been targeted. It's a running battle between activists and Transport for London, which has now stepped up, with TfL trying a new way to protect the cameras, metal armour to shield their wires. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has our top story.
The attacks on ULEZ cameras are far from subtle. Some have the cables sliced or ripped out. Others are repositioned so they point at the sky or trees instead of traffic. And then there are those which are simply unbolted from their brackets and taken away.
This is the A224 in Orpington, where along a 2-mile stretch we counted 6 junctions where ULEZ cameras have been targeted. 3 cameras were vandalised. 17 have been stolen.
So why has the London Borough of Bromley become a hotspot for ULEZ sabotage?
I honestly don't know, but what I do know, without condoning it in any way, shape or form, is I have been warning, amongst others, for months and months and months of there being lots of very upset, very scared and increasingly angry people out and about, and I think that's manifesting itself on the streets.
A few days ago, a figure dressed in black attacked 2 cameras in the centre of Bromley, apparently unfazed by an audience of drinkers in a local pub. But not everyone approves of the vigilantes.
I think it's terrible, terrible. Wrong.
Dreadful. I don't know why these people have to do this. I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to look after our environment, aren't we?
There's no point, right? Like, vandalising something's not going to change the fact that it's expanding. It's pointless.
The attacks on the cameras leaves clean air campaigners depressed.
They're all across the world now, these clean air zones, and they're working. And then on the other side, you've got people, parents even, who are turning to vandalism and criminal damage. Yet actually, I think it's like they're cutting off their noses to spite their face, because these measures will benefit them and their children and all of us, and we all need to breathe cleaner air.
Transport for London has now decided to fight back with a new armoured camera. The cables at the back and the bolts which hold the cameras in place will be protected by steel cases. But it's going to add to the £140 million cost of cameras and warning signs.
And Simon, it's not just cameras causing headaches for TfL, but signs too, is that right?
Yes, with the exception of Slough, all of the local authorities which border Greater London are refusing to cooperate with TfL when it comes to putting up signs which will warn motorists that they're about to drive into the new extended ULEZ. Now, these are Conservative councils and they oppose the ULEZ extension, but TfL has warned that 3 of them, Kent, Hertfordshire and Surrey, could potentially be responsible for causing road crashes if drivers approaching the zone at the last minute perform a risky manoeuvre, say a U-turn, to try to avoid it and end up having an accident. TfL says these councils failing their legal duty under the Traffic Management Act to keep the roads safe, and Sadiq Khan has asked them to put politics aside and allow TfL to put up the signs. But the councils are determined to stand firm. They say they're not going to give way unless Sadiq Khan extends his scrappage scheme to allow people in the home counties to apply for a grant.
Not very long to go until D-Day. Simon, thank you very much. Detectives are continuing to try to trace the loved ones of a man who died after collapsing close to the South Bank in May last year. The man, who was found in Coral Street with a head injury, is thought to have been in his 40s or 50s. Police have released a computer-generated image in the hope that someone may recognise him.
He had no personal effects on him, and he had no other items able to identify him either. So the investigation's focused around trying to identify him and family members. Unfortunately, fingerprints and DNA, both locally and in the UK, as well as abroad, haven't managed to identify who he is.
A former police officer has appeared in court charged with misconduct in public office. Former Surrey police officer Adam Davies is accused of passing information to an organised crime group. Davies appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court today to confirm his personal details and was granted bail. A hearing is set to take place in September. And detectives investigating a stabbing outside the British Museum are asking anyone who may have captured video footage of the attack to come forward. On the morning on the 8th of August, a 36-year-old man was found with injuries to his arm and taken to hospital. He has since been discharged. An update now on the double homophobic stabbing on Sunday night. Police have released a new, clearer image of the man wanted in connection with the attack. Cafe Pata is here. Kath, where was this photo taken?
Yeah, so these two new photographs, they were taken on the number 50 bus in Thornton Heath. And this was around 2 hours before Neil and his partner were attacked. You can see that it's a much clearer image. We can see what the individual is wearing. We have a better, closer look at his face. This comes off the back of yesterday's image, which wasn't as clear, but as you said, this is much clearer, it's better. And police are really urging people to look closely. Take a look at his face, take a look at what he's wearing. If any of these look familiar, contact either the Metropolitan Police, or if you want to stay anonymous, you can contact Crime Stoppers.
OK, Kath, thank you very much. Still to come on the programme. The Busker making it big. Wilfie Williams is in the studio after swapping tube tunnels for the Spotify stage. And
they've got the lot here: water, gardens, theatre, and once upon a time, we weren't allowed to come here. Find out where I am and whether the weather will hold up very soon.
But first, commuters travelling in and out of London will have to pay more on the railways. And some are warning it could be as steep as £300 extra per year, despite a government pledge to cap next year's fare increases. Helen Keenan is at Woking Station in Surrey this evening. Helen, more rising costs then?
Well, commuters are already facing financial pressure from ULEZ. They're now looking at further price increases, this time in the form of rail fares. It's thought annual travel in and out of London could rise on average by around £300. That's according to the passenger group Campaign for Better Transport, who base these costs on 40 of the most popular commuter towns that travel into the capital. And this is all despite a government pledge to cap next year's fare increases. So let me just talk you through a little bit more detail in some of these figures. So if we focus on Woking, so here at Woking Station, a season ticket for travelling into London will currently cost you just over £3,800. Now that is a £200 increase on the previous year. But looking ahead, it's predicted that rail travellers will be looking at a further £200. That takes them well over £4,000 for their season ticket. Now, this is all if the 5.9% increase that we had in March is replicated again next year. And passenger groups say there needs to be a freeze on rail fares.
Well, it's said that the prices will be below inflation, but the reality is last year they were also below inflation, but they were the largest rise in ticket fares in a decade. So what we really need to see is for government to freeze rail fares, as they have done with fuel duty for 13 years, in order to get people back on trains.
Now, the Department for Transport has said it would not increase next year's fares by as much as the RPI rate. That's to protect the passengers from the cost of living pressures. So that will be some welcome news for commuters. But when they're fighting a cost of living crisis, they're actually not going to know how much prices will go up by until December.
Helen in Woking, thank you very much. To sport now, and what a weekend for the Lionesses after securing their place in the final.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
And you can watch England take on Spain in the final live on ITV1. Kickoff is at 11 a.m. this Sunday, but ITV will have all the build-up from 9:25. And of course, you can watch it on ITVX. Now, the aim of boxing is to knock out your opponent, but what if your opponent is your good friend? Well, that's one of the big challenges for two South Londoners who are going head-to-head in a big boxing clash at the O2 in October. The pair have agreed to put their friendship aside for 12 rounds for the chance to become world champion. Anton Allen has been to meet them.
I've probably known them over 10 years, always been training, sparring together.
Two mates that share one dream, to become a world champion boxer. The South Londoners have put their friendship away for 12 rounds. They have to fight each other to be one step closer to glory.
That's legacy right there. Do you know what I mean? I've started from the ground up, you know, from southern area, all through the other belts to being a world champion. That's like crazy. Even when I'm gone, they'll probably still be mentioning me.
I didn't have like dreams or goals until I came to this country, the land of opportunities, and like I said, found this thing called boxing. So to be able to sit back and say, guys, I fought for a title, I did this, I won a title. I don't just want to be someone that, competed for it. I won the title. And you look back in my history and my life and where my childhood came from, it'll be crazy, man.
Joshua Boatsi and Dan Aziz's friendship began as they exchanged punches. Over the years, they've sparred hundreds of rounds together. Normally on fight night, they cheer each other on. But this time at the O2 Arena, they'll be looking to knock out their friend.
So I used to watch his fights. I think, this guy's good, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Him and Dwayne, I went down to spar them. And then from there, we've just always kept that kind of close relationship, you know.
There were two people I said in boxing I wouldn't fight. I said, they're my good friends. One was one of my best mates, Dwayne Sinclair, and the other one was Dan. And I always said that. So sitting here now, it's like, you said you'd never fight him. But here we are. And as I said, because it's for something important, we can put the friendship to the side for 12 rounds or less and get on.
Boxing's highest honour is to become a world champion. Whoever wins this fight will be guaranteed a shot to turn their dream into a reality and fight for the light heavyweight world title belt.
Just how difficult will it be for you to dig deep in those final moments, knowing that you have to inflict pain onto someone that is close to you?
Those times and during those periods, there's no emotion, but to make sure at the end that my hands lifted up, there's no emotion.
Once the bell rings, I don't think there's going to be any, do you know what I mean? I know Josh, he's someone who, look, I just need to get the job done, and I'm very much the same. There's no if, buts, or maybe.
This fight could be billed as Lewisham versus Croydon, Ghana versus Nigeria, the Olympic medalist versus the traditional British champion. But to Joshua and Dan, it's simply another chance to make their family proud.
And both of you mentioned your parents. How proud are they of the men that you've become?
Hopefully very proud. I came to England 21 years ago on August the 10th. So I texted both my parents a couple of days ago and said, thank you very much, like you brought me here, you changed my life, X, Y, Z. So I thank them so much.
My mum calls me her hero. She doesn't even tell me why. She doesn't say it, she just says, yeah, you're my hero. And that's it. Like, even now, just saying it, I'm getting like, do you know what I mean? She's very, very proud.
The next time Joshua Boatsi and Dan Aziz touch hands will be in the ring at the O2 Arena on the 21st of October. Anton Allen, ITV News.
And World Cup final fever continues on the ITV News at 6:30. Let's have a look ahead now with Lucrezia.
Coming up on the evening news, they've done it.
It's ecstasy for England.
The Lionesses are into the World Cup final after beating hosts Australia. They now lie on the brink of glory. We'll bring you the reaction from Sydney and, of course, back at home. Meanwhile, relief for businesses as inflation falls for the second month in a row, but further interest rate hikes look likely. And one man and his drone helping reunite lost dogs with their owners. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, our guest tonight has gone from busking outside Abbey Road studios to recording an album inside, thanks mostly to one clip. This fantastic video at Leicester Square racked up 1 million views, and since then Wilfie Williams has been making a bit of a name for himself in the music industry and has now released his debut album. And Wilfie joins me now, rejoins, because you're a friend of the programme, you've been on before. How has life changed since the last time you spoke to Lucrezia?
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Thanks for having me back. So, yeah, it's just been an amazing journey. After I went viral, a producer got in touch with me and I sort of went, he invited me over, I went and played a few songs on my acoustic. Just the dream for me was always to be a songwriter.
Yeah.
And he loved the songs and he said to me, oh, let's make a record. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. Yeah, and then he started the magic really started happening. He started contacting all these musicians. And so we got Alex Reeves, who's played drums for Elbow and One Direction and all these bands. And Stereo Mike came on board and started putting all like this sort of hip hop piano and stuff on the record, and then we ended up recording at Abbey Road. And when my producer told me that, I was like, it was such a dream come true, you know, to go from sort of busking the Beatles to Abbey Road itself.
This is on your YouTube page. We found this old clip of you outside Abbey Road Studios, and it's just remarkable. Now you're recording an album inside.
Yeah, I mean, it is a dream come true, but I mean, what an amazing journey. I knew you were going to play this. But you can see how far I have come, and it's reminded me just, you know, if it was about the journey, I'd be a very rich man.
Such a long way. Shall we have a quick listen to one of your new songs from your new album?
Please do.
You're doing music videos now, Wilfie.
Yeah, it's so cool.
You're going to be on MTV, VH1.
God,
I don't even know if VH1's around anymore.
I don't know either, but if they are, sign me up.
I'm showing my age, aren't I? Tell us about the album then. What's the inspiration for the songs? What are you writing about?
Yeah, I guess my life. The album's called The Rhyme and Reasons of Wilfie Williams. It's just really about my life. So everyone, go out and have a listen. You can download it. It's out on Spotify and Apple and all streaming sites. So. But yeah, I mean, it was quite an emotional record. My father died when I was writing it, and so there's a song dedicated to him. You know, I loved making the record. I just always wanted to be a songwriter. Hurts is a song about a breakup. So, you know, it's quite an emotional, but there's a lot of, like, Wilfie, good vibes and good energy there, you know.
You are relentlessly upbeat, so it's interesting that you are mining these more difficult moments in life.
Yeah.
Is that cathartic for you to
100%.
work through them in song?
And it's all about the joy, you know, like, there is a lot of emotion there, but I'm more about the joy. There's a lot of joy on the record, and you don't go viral unless you're full of joy.
No, you don't. Any time for busking?
Yeah, I'm still out. You'll still catch me.
Now, a few weeks ago, we actually covered a story about Westminster Council considering proposals to crack down on some noise and some instruments because people were complaining. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I've not really got any comment on that. So.
No, I mean, I think it was quite heavy brass instruments, whereas you and your guitar would be absolutely fine.
Yeah, it's all about the love for me, you know.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone would complain about you. As I say, always upbeat, Wilfie, thank you.
Yeah,
and thank you
so
especially
much.
Because I know you came back from your holiday to talk to us, so we appreciate that.
It's coming home.
Wilfie, it is coming home, you're right, thank you. Right, Sunshine Sally is out and about again. Where are you, Sally? Is it all getting a bit much for you there, taking a load off?
It is a hard life, Duncan. Cheers. I have to say, actually, this is non-alcoholic because sometimes drinking and thinking are not mutually compatible. But where am I? I'm at Regents Park, and isn't it beautiful? We've got the gorgeous lake there, and it does have fabulous gardens. Look at these pictures. They're just stunning. It is the biggest park in central London, but they've not just got gardens, they've also got London Zoo, and who knew, a university. Now, last week we were asking people at Hyde Park why they love that so much. Tonight we asked people why they love Regents Park so much, starting with some Americans who love the wildlife.
It's so awesome to be so up close to magpies and warblers, things that we never see, some toads that I'm hoping to see, smooth newts.
I was going to say
that is what we're especially looking forward to here.
Listening to the fountain, watching the world go by.
It's so quiet, isn't it?
Oh, for summertime.
I'm right on cue. Lawnmower.
I don't know, it's very relaxing, and I love these chairs. I really love that you just have chairs to sit in that you can move around. That to me is very, very special.
It's a very London thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the other thing they've got here, which I have to confess I didn't know about, is an open-air theatre. I'm not just talking a small theatre. Look at these pictures. It's a proper production that they've got going on at the moment, La Cage aux Folles, and it is the biggest theatre, one of the biggest theatres rather, in London, with about 1,300 seats. And earlier I spoke to the lead actor, Carl, about why it's so magical performing here in the open air.
I think people are just enchanted by it. The theatre itself, as you walk in, is beautiful, and there's picnic lawns. People bring their picnic baskets and champagne and sit and enjoy.
Sold.
I know. As you're watching the show and the story unfolds and the wind moves through the trees, or the birds circle overhead, and as the light changes and it goes dark and all the lights start to twinkle, it really is a magical experience.
Now, do you want to know some history about this place? Yes, good answer. It was originally drawn on a map by Henry VIII, and he used it for hunting. Then it was given to tenant farmers. Then some time passed, and I'm going to hand the story over now to Nick, who's the park manager here. What happened next, Nick?
So 1811, John Nash started to develop a property development, really to raise money for the Crown. 56 villas.
56 villas, wow.
Yeah, 56 villas, all set in parkland, all looking out onto open parkland, surrounded by effectively a barrier block designed to keep the local people out.
Oh no, so no one was allowed in?
Well, he was building for the wealthy and the good, as if they were one and the same. And, yeah, there was a downturn in the economy, the plan foundered, and by 1835, the park started to open up little parcels at a time. But now there's so much to enjoy now.
We've got to throw to the weather very quickly. Do any animals from the zoo ever come here? I'm desperate to know.
Well, quite often you will see the keepers from the zoo walking around like this, looking for their birds, but the birds always come back when it's feeding time.
They always go back for dinner. Classic. Let's take a look at the weather now. Here we go.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again, a very good evening to you. I hope you had a lovely day. How great to have umbrellas as parasols rather than rain guards. We've got another nice one tomorrow. Dry and with lovely sunny spells, bit of cloud but staying warm, particularly in that sunshine. And then a bit of a change as we go into Friday. Some showers moving through, probably in the morning, and then some rain overnight. But we'll come on to that in a moment. As for this evening, some lovely sunny skies at the moment. Bit of cloud around, hopefully you've got some sunny skies as well. As we go through the night, the temperatures dropping down, but probably not quite as far as they did last night. So to stay up a little bit warmer, probably more of us staying up into the teens. So as we head on into tomorrow, it won't be quite as fresh, and another nice sunny start to the day. There is some cloud around though, and there'll be a little bit coming and going through the day. It might be that the further east you live, you hold on to more of the sunshine. Also, the further east you live though, as we go through the day, that breeze is picking up and we've got that easterly onshore flow, so a little bit cooler towards the coast. But the further west you are, we could get highs of 24 to 26. So again, warm in that sunshine. And then as we head into the evening, staying dry, and hopefully you'll have a bit of sunshine to finish your day. Now, as we move on into Friday, you can see that slight change, low pressure moving in. Looks like we'll get those showers around the morning time, but there is still a bit of uncertainty over that. And then overnight Friday into Saturday, we have got some rain moving in and the winds picking up. It's staying quite humid on Friday and into Friday night. But by Saturday, as you can see from the outlook, we have got some nice sunshine heading our way, maybe a shower, and maybe a little bit showery on Sunday, but we'll keep you posted. We'll see you later on. Cheerio.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
Thank you, Sally. And that is it for now. The ITV Evening News is next with Lucrezia. But from all of us on the London team, thank you for watching and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.